Hello, this is Rob, Alpha Hotel 6 X-Ray, and today I'm going to talk about another bag. This bag was purpose-built to go to New Zealand. My wife and I went to two huts on the island, North Island, the Pinnacles Hut and the Bioenno Hut. The Pinnacles Hut was 4.5 mile hike up 2,000 feet of elevation, and then the Bioenno Hut I think was maybe 2.5 miles and maybe a couple of 100 feet of elevation gain. Anyway, in both cases, having to carry your radio gear, it can get very heavy over long distances, especially if there's a ton of elevation gain. And then in the case of the huts, we're also having to carry water, food, bedding, maybe not a tent in this case because we're staying in the hut, but this is more weight in your pack than you would have otherwise. So some of the goals with this pack was to have waterproofing and to make it as light as possible. And then in the South Pacific, I didn't really know whether I'd be able to do analog voice very well. Again, being lots of ocean between me and anyone else. So I also have a digital capability with me. I'm going to go ahead and open this up and then I'll talk about it as I open it up. So on the outside here is a weatherproof ALPS Mountaineering Vapor 16 pack. On the back here, it's got some shoulder straps. It's not something you'd want to have on your shoulders for very long, but it wasn't built to carry a ton of weight, the pack I mean. Maybe this would have kind of a stuff sack kind of feel to it. Anyway, for me, I was really just looking for the waterproofing, and you can see evidence of that up here at the top. I like that it has a little grab handle here too, so that way when you're reaching into your pack with all your other stuff, you can just grab this handle, yank it out. So inside here, I've got a Condor pack insert. This big guy right here. Inside I also have 15 feet of RG8X. And I've also got two antennas. So I've got a 2 meter 440 antenna here, which I ended up not using. And then in here, I've got a buddy stick feather weight antenna. And this is for the HF capability. And then this is just a PVC pipe you can get at the hardware store. So if you put much in this, it has a tendency to pucker. And so I put a strap on here in order to keep the bag from puckering. But it slides off pretty easy. There's a single Velcro strap. And that folds open really nice. And so the pouches are all Velcro, so you can move them around if you want to. I'm going to go through this left to right. So in this leftmost pouch, I've got a Nano VNA H4. So with the antenna analyzer, I want to be able to use that telescoping whip to optimize my antenna. In here, I've got my Elecraft AX1 antenna. So I've done a slight modification to the Elecraft antenna. First thing, I use a set of radials. So I've actually got 10, 15, and 20 radials on here. When you get it from Elecraft, it just has kind of one wire, and they expect you to use it with a tuner with the KX3, but the FT818 doesn't have a tuner like the KX3. Anyway, so I've got kind of custom radials there, and then I had a brass fitting made. So normally with the AX1, the whip it comes with screws down into a reservoir here. And so this brass adapter allows me to use the standard threading for telescoping antennas. And then, of course, the switch still works. You just use more or less coil, and then adjust the whip as needed in order to get the frequency optimization that you're looking for. I've got a little, this is from clothing sales on base, but this would normally be a little sewing pouch, but I've got filled with an elbow and a little platform for that tripod base. Neckerchiefs, as you've seen in my other videos, I'm real excited about. So this one happens to be a Yeti neckerchief. Again, they provide a clean surface to put your gear. They allow you to bundle your stuff pretty easy. If you need to clean something, you can do that too, and then throw them in the wash. Anyway, they're very versatile. In this bottom pouch, I've got the Icon band plan, red pen, black pen, and pencil, so it's like a three-way pen. I've got the nifty guide for the FT818, and it's just in a plastic bag here to keep it clean and keep it dry. I use this cable here to connect to the RG8X to the antenna analyzer. And then inside here I have a set of headphones. I didn't actually end up doing any voice contacts, but the headphones would have been nice if I was able to make any contacts. On the other end here, I've got two Tasmanian Tiger pouches. It's a German brand. They're very durable. I use these in Afghanistan actually, so I highly recommend them. They're very sturdy. They've got interior pouches, so you can do some additional organization inside. And then on the back here, they're connected via MOLLE straps to a Velcro MOLLE pad. It might be a little hard to see, but it's elastic strapping that the MOLLE goes through to hold it in place. And here I've just got a FT818 barrel connector and power pole adapter. I've got a Bioenno 8 amp hour battery. And so I use the West Mountain Radio battery tester to see how much capacity it actually had. And this actually had a little over 3.5 amp hours, even though it's advertised to only have 3. And with 3.5 amp hours, that's a ton of runtime for the FT818. More than I thought I would need on a weekend of backpacking and hunting. In this other pouch, this is a BX184 parrot microphone. And so the FT818 doesn't have the ability to record voice messages like calling CQ internally. And so this is a kit you can buy online. And then you can record some audio, CQ, Alpha Hotel, 6 X-ray, calling CQ, whatever, CQ POTA. Anyway, then you can have it play back at like 3, 6, or 10-second intervals. And it just really save your voice. And then, you know, when somebody calls back, you can just depress the key that kills the playback, and then you can take over. In here, I've also got a Soda Beam speech compressor, and then, you know, the cords for the microphone, and the cord for the speech compressor. This is kind of a custom little Velcro piece here my wife made for me. So it's just a 3-inch elastic strap sewn onto some more strapping that was firmed up with a sheet of plastic underneath, and then Velcro, and then the edges were lined. So it's just kind of like a little custom thing to hold the radio in place. And we've already talked a bit about my love of neckerchiefs. And so here's the FT818. Normally I'd have this in the portable zero rails, but the rails stick out a little too far, and they had plenty of protection otherwise. So I was able to take the rails off, drop the weight, reduce the size a little bit, and then it fit real nicely like you saw inside here. And just this bag is kind of a nothing. It's real thin, it's real light. I can tell you that it is water resistant, and it even holds air. So if you have a X-Ped sleeping mats or something like that, they have like a snoozle, and the snoozle, it's very similar in design. You open the bag up, you fold this over a couple of times, and then it's got a piece at the bottom you can use to blow your bag open, fill it full of air. Anyway, you can see how well this thing holds air. So it's definitely keeping the water out too. And then not for nothing, you know, once your stuff is all set up, you know, you might use this to carry something else, or maybe if you leave that in the car, you could still use this for something else as well. Again, like, you know, on a backpacking trip or traveling overseas. Anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll leave links to a whole bunch of this stuff in the notes below. And then I'm also going to include some video from my Pinnacles Hut trip, just showing this kind of out in the field. Thanks for watching.
That is Alpha Hotel 6 X-Ray, November Zulu, setting up his station to do parks on the air. Very far away. In the Pinnacles State Forest in Coromandel Peninsula, New Zealand. I'll zoom out here. You can see the hut where we stayed come into view on the right. And this is the Coromandel Peninsula.
Hello, this is Rob, Alpha Hotel 6 X-Ray, and today I'm making this video at Coromandel Forest Park at the Pinnacles Hut in New Zealand. And so I recently packed up all of my most portable gear in the States, in Idaho, and brought it out to New Zealand to do a couple of hut trips and some parks on the air activations. In my super small kit here, I've got a FT818, I've got a little nano VNA H4 analyzer. I've got my hand mic, which is the parrot version, along with a speech compressor. I've got a small Bioenno 3 amp-hour battery. I'm using DigiRig right now to do FT8, and then a small laptop, and then I've also got an Elecraft AX1 antenna, which has been slightly modified. And so I've been operating for, I don't know, 2 hours, and I've only been able to make one contact so far. And I'm on 15 meters. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of activity out here in the middle of the Pacific. And with 5 watts, I just can't get too far downrange. If you look around, you know, there's a ton of mountains and forests. So this was a 4-mile hike up 1,500 feet of elevation to get to this helipad next to the hut. And then what you're looking at there is the Pinnacles Mountain, for which this area is named. And so I certainly would like to be making more contacts, but I think that's all I'm going to get. But we're going to do a couple more hut trips, and I'll try again soon. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those in the notes, and thanks for watching.